Welcome to the Coach and Bro Show. And no, I am not the coach. I am the bro. I am Vince Russo. But I got to tell you, man, the coach's presence is felt because I was victim of the old coach swerve. Coach thought it would be funny to swerve the man who invented the swerve, and that would be me. Because I was told this morning that I was going to have a lovely, a beautiful, a vivacious co-host for this show. That's what I was told. That's what the coach told me. So I got all excited. I even used my Mando. I used my Mando wipes. I used my Mando deodorant. I used my Mando underarm stick. I was ready to go. I had to be fresh, smelling good like a daisy. If I was going to have an attractive co-host, I was going to meet for the first time. I was very excited. So I come here this morning and I get this guy. Where is my attractive? Now listen, everybody knows. I have known the great Tommy Carlucci for 26 years, the all-star pitcher of the Titan Sports softball team. Everybody knows I love Tommy. I put Tommy over like no other. But Tommy, where's my beautiful, vivacious, glowing co-host?
You're looking at him right here.
Man, Coach is going to hear this.
Oh yeah, that's a big time swerve. You're telling me you're going to see some hot, vivacious person, and then you see my face.
Yeah,
Whew,
exactly.
that's a problem, dude. I would definitely bring it up to him the next time you guys get together. And
Yeah.
by the way, I watched that Open. How old is that Open? Because that was coached like 25 pounds ago.
He does that. He does that all the time. He uses his best footage. We don't see the real coach. But
No.
anyway, I do want to say, because I said at the top of the show, man, sponsor of this show is Mando. I got to tell you what I love about Mando. This is whole body deodorant. And right there, Tommy, I love this. Look at this. For pits, packages, and feet. I love that. They're telling you, bro. They even say, I got this copy, Tommy. They say right in the copy, it's for the grundle. They're telling you flat out, spray this on the nutsack, the ball area.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you guys, there is a starter pack if you want to try Mando, which really is a great product. There's a starter pack for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, and also free shipping. And as a special order for our listeners, new customers get $5 off the starter pack with our exclusive code EXPLODES. That is the code. That equates over 40% off your starter pack. Use the code EXPLODES at shopmando.com, shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Tommy,
Yep.
A lot went on this past weekend, Monday Night Raw. I got to ask you a question, Tommy, because I've been asking myself this. Did the right guy win the Royal Rumble in Jey Uso? Tommy, what is your experienced opinion?
I've been talking about this, and I've been thinking about this, and I always wondered, did Jay have the star power to sell out? And listen, we're in Vegas. We're not in Philadelphia. We're not in Indianapolis. We're in the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas. And you're going to tell me Jey Uso main event against Gunther is going to sell out the first or second night? I'm sorry, I don't see it. I like Jey Uso a lot. I think he's I know him. I worked with him for years. You couldn't meet a nicer guy who works his ass off and just does everything the right way. But I don't think he's on the level of Cody, Roman, Punk. I'm sorry. I just don't see it at all. And this is what bothers me about this. I didn't think he was going to win at all. I I thought Roman was gonna win. That was my deal. He got the Ulafala. I thought my final four, I had Logan Paul in there with Cena, Punk, and Roman. I had Cena getting dumped by Logan, and that could have been a match at WrestleMania. Somehow Roman wins. He goes to WrestleMania with Cody. And my other thought process to get Punk in the main event, use the wise man's favor. Now we got a triple threat. But going this whole curve of Jey Uso, I'm not sure if it's working. And then Monday night proved it. He came into the ring, and now you're given the ball. And you notice you've been a writer, you promoted guys for years, you put over Austin. They took the ball and ran with it. It's his time to take the ball and run with it. And his promo didn't cut it for me. That all getting emotional stuff, that does nothing for me at all. I know he's been there 15 years moving forward. Everybody works hard, right? You work hard. We bring it to another level. And I'm not sure if he can do that.
Well, some great points, Tommy. And listen, I just want to let everybody know in the chat. Thank all you guys for coming in, guys. If you want to be a part of this discussion, you could do it through super stickers and donations. We will put you right on the screen with questions, comments, but you got to do it through a super sticker or a donation. Why? Because me and Tommy are working here. That's why. This is work. Now, Tommy, I'm going to agree and I'm going to disagree. Here's the disagreement part, Tommy.
Okay.
They have made it crystal clear. They are catering to the marks. They are catering to the audience they already have. They don't care about the casual fans. They've given up on the casual fans simply because it's too hard to get new fans. It's too hard, it's too difficult, and quite frankly, they don't know how to do it. So what are we going to do? We're going to cater to the fans we already have, and those fans will be very, very, very happy if Jey Uso goes over. And that's fine, man. If that's your business philosophy and that's the road you want to go down, that's fine. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's pathetic because I know when I wrote a television show, I wanted the world to watch. I already knew we had the marks. They weren't going anywhere. They were watching the show regardless of what was on it. The key was, how do we get the rest of the world? That was the key. But as far as selling out, Tommy, listen, you and I have been there, and it started with a legend by the name of Bob Collins. And Tommy, thank God they are a marketing, promotion, advertising, branding machine. Because, Tommy, if you and I headlined WrestleMania, they would sell WrestleMania out. So I don't think they have to worry about that. But Tommy, I think you are dead on about, okay, man, you're in the spot now. Can you carry it? Because Tommy, I think we saw on Monday night, Yeet is going to carry you so far. Tommy, you love sports like I do, especially, baseball's right around the corner. Tommy, pitches, catches, 1 week from today.
Yep.
Tommy, you got to have all 5 tools in today's game. And you could be a great worker if you can't deliver on that microphone. And Tommy, Yeet's going to take this guy so far.
I'm getting a little tired of the Yeet too, especially watching. Does Michael Cole have any rhythm in his body at all?
Tommy, can we talk about this for a second?
And I know Michael really well, but
yeah, Tommy, I know Michael well, and I kind of feel bad about saying this because I was there when Michael started. But Tommy, I find myself saying this a lot. To me, Tommy, this is me talking, so you can disagree. Bro, this dude is getting so obnoxious. And let me tell you this, like, he is so happy Vince McMahon is no longer in his ear. But let me tell you what Michael Cole is proving every single week. Brother, you're proving you needed Vince McMahon in your ear every single week because I got to tell you, Michael, I love you. This isn't personal, but bro, you are starting to become so freaking obnoxious. I mean, Tommy, he's crowd surfing.
Yeah.
Like serious, bro. You're an announcer. You're a play-by-play guy. You're crowd surf. I mean, Bob Uecker didn't even crowd surf, Tommy.
Nope, not at all. And Cole did it. I'm not sure if that was a swerve from Cody or what, but you're right. Michael's really come out of his shell. And please, can you listen to the song and kind of move your hands the same time every if you're gonna yeet, please do it right because you look like a fool when you're off and everybody's on with it. You're absolutely right. And going back to Jay, I mean, Yeaton's gonna get old, right? And now you gotta move on to something else. That's what happens in this business, right? And I just feel that Jay needs to bring that up to another level. What he does it in the next couple of weeks, and Lord knows WrestleMania is late this year, right? So if it's him and Gunther, I want to see what kind of storyline is going to keep me riveted watching the show every week, making me say, I can't wait to see Gunther and Jey Uso at WrestleMania. Because let's face it, Gunther is Gunther. You're not going to get much out of him. So it's very interesting to see how they're going to handle this storyline moving forward.
And yeah, Tommy, I'm with you too. Like man, I have a real hard time of wrestlers crying in the ring. And I'll tell you why, Tommy. Tommy, I look at this as a casual fan. I am a casual fan. I do not love wrestling. I loved it when I was in it. I don't love the wrestling business today. I don't love the product. This is a paying job. I take the job seriously, but I am no way, shape, or form a wrestling mark. And Tommy, as a casual fan, you and I sit here every single week and we watch matches with no psychology. We watch everybody kick out of everything. We see just move after move after move. Nobody sells. It's all blatantly fake. But now, Tommy, because Jey Uso is crying, oh, so this part is real now. I'm supposed to think this is real and this guy is all emotional, but everything else is not real and not both. Tommy, somebody slapped me right across the face the other day because listen, bro, we know it's a work. Jey Uso, with all due respect, and Tommy, I've never met Jay, but I could tell he's a great guy. He's a
Yes,
hell
he
of a
is.
guy. And I'm not questioning that. But Jay, like casual fans watching at home, brother, no matter how emotional this is to you, bro, you didn't win anything.
Mhm.
You didn't beat anybody. Like, we know that as we're watching at home. Tommy, somebody said this to me the other day. Vince, can you imagine Bruno Sammartino crying after a match? Tommy, like think about
No,
what wrestling used to
to be.
be
Yep.
to where it is today. Wrestling was men's men. You think Roddy Piper would have ever cried in a ring? We don't want to see that, Tommy. We talk about, there's no more grit. There's no more sweat. There's no more guys that look like wrestlers. Now we're taking it to the extreme of you're going to break up because I won a title that I didn't even win because I dreamed about it when I was a kid. Tommy, come on, man.
Yeah, I totally I mean, you think Gorilla Monsoon ever cried?
Oh God.
And I knew Gorilla well, great
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace. Bruno was a rock. I used to go to those monthly shows at the Garden, me and my buddies in the '70s and watch Bruno. We couldn't wait to him and boy, I gotta tell you, we couldn't wait to see him and Waldo Von Erich, the German, go
Oh
at it.
yeah.
Oh my, those were
Yes.
battles. George
Yes.
the Animal Steel, I was
Yes.
afraid of him, and I was a teenager. That's how real it looked to me with George. You think George the Animal Steel would ever cry? You got real guys going at it. And you're right. Today, everything's a high spot. Everything's a false finish, right? That's all you see in matches. Nobody puts anybody, there's no ring psychology at all. and it just drives me crazy. Who could outdo who in a high spot? I'm gonna jump here. I'm gonna go off the table. I'm gonna do this. And it means nothing unless you have a storyline in the match and a storyline with that guy right there. And that's why to me, Jay really needs to go up 3 or 4 notches in order for me to take interest and say, I can't wait to see Gunther and Jay go at it at WrestleMania.
Yeah. And and a couple other things, Tommy. Like, I just want to say this because I don't want to be a hard ass or a dick or anything like that. And I want people to understand, man, I don't want any of my heat to go to freaking Tommy. Please don't take out on Tommy what I'm about to say. But Jay talked about, after the match, going in the back and getting Rikishi on the phone. Everybody's putting Jay over because they like him and they love him, and it's a great win. Tommy, you've been there. There are hugs all around. To me, Tommy, that's the moment where the emotions come out. You got your dad on the phone. You got your brother. You got your colleagues. By the time you get to that stage the following night, now it's business. Okay, we had that moment. Now it's business. And Tommy, here's what makes things twice as worse. So you got Jay breaking up, teary-eyed. He can't get words out. Then you got the heel come out in Gunther. Now, Tommy, don't you think the heel should say, wait a minute, these are the fearsome Samoans?
Yep.
This is the Samoan bloodline I'm supposed to fear? You're standing here crying like a woman? They miss all that, Tommy. Yep. They absolutely miss all that. So it's a very, very flat promo that goes absolutely nowhere.
Yeah. Instead, Gunther said, I'm coming at you like a dog, instead of saying you're crying like a little girl, and you're gonna face me at WrestleMania. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
A real heel would have ripped Piper back in the day, would have ripped him to shreds about crying in the ring. You're crying. You just won Royal Rumble. You should be in here saying, you know what? I don't know who I'm going to wrestle yet, whether it's Gunther or Cody. I'm going to win the match, blah, blah, blah. Gunther comes out. You go nose to nose and you see what's going to happen there. But no, none of that happened. Instead, I had Gunther saying, well, if you decide to take me, I'm going to come at you like a dog. Really?
Yeah.
What does that do for me? That does nothing for me.
And Tommy, I got to tell you, man, when I was writing, when I would be writing with Vince and Ed, Tommy, there was one rule of thumb. You never ended an in-ring without physicality. Mm-hmm. An in-ring always ended in physicality. Now we got these mic drops and these in-rings, they're so flat when they're over.
Yep.
But anyway, hey, producer man, I saw a couple super stickers donations. You want to throw them up now? Here we go. Awesome sauce. Thank you very much, my friend. Vince, I watched the match with Eugene and Grado, and Eugene goes through a pile of Skittles, and there's a taste the rainbow chant. I laughed for 10 minutes. Awesome sauce, I told you. Tommy, I was overseas at the UK, and Grado and Eugene had a match where in the corner of each ring on a pole was like a box. You didn't know what was in the box. And one of the box had like Skittles, the other box, they had all ridiculous things. One of the greatest, most entertaining matches I ever saw.
That's great. Man, Eugene. Is it Eugene back in the day, Eugene? I don't know who Grado was. Was he
Grado was over at TNA. Grado is from Scotland, Tommy.
Okay.
You can't understand a conversation with him, Tommy. You can't understand a word this guy's saying, Grado.
Yeah.
Was there another one? I think I saw another one. Here we go. Hogan and Backlund cried after they lost the title. Well, perhaps. But all right, Tommy, let's move on to some MJF comments. And I want to see how you feel about these. So we had, refresh my memory. Could we bring up these comments, producer man? We had Jimmy Corderas. We both know and love, Tommy. Jimmy Corderas, great dude. Yep. Does a great podcast now. longtime referee. My God, I cannot read that because it's so small. Can you read that, Tommy?
I can't see that at all.
Okay, well, oh God. Hold on, producer man. I'm gonna have to pull it up on my end so I can wait. Hold on, did he do something there? No, let me pull it up on my end, producer man, because I want to be able to read this so people get the entire crux of this Twitter exchange between Jimmy Corderas and MJF. Then I'm going to get into a discussion with Tommy over here. I just got to pull this up. Hold on, Tommy. We are live, ladies and gentlemen,
Yep.
live. I'm sweating now. I need my Mando. Hold on for a second. All right, here we go, Tommy. I got it. Okay. Jimmy Corderas put out a tweet, and this is what it said. Great job, MJF, of reminding your audience about the man who is on top in the other company. So evidently on AEW, MJF talked about Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
MJF comes back with this. His brother, my mentor, a guy who helped shape me early on in my career. Your old boss, he's talking about Vince, brainwashed you into believing we need to treat the fans like morons and pretend other wrestling companies don't exist. You dumb, ignorant, ball, grifting Fuck.
Wow.
Little harsh there. Little harsh
A little
there.
stiff.
Yeah,
A little
Tommy.
stiff.
Tommy, what do you think about this whole situation?
I'm wondering what happened to MJF. This is a young kid who has a lot of talent. And I'm just wondering what happened to him. And then you're doing stuff like this. Like, what happened to his character? They have him like feuding now and going into a Jeff Jarrett, and then Rhodes came in last night. I don't know what happened to this guy who was sharp, young, could cut a promo. It just makes me think that I don't care about him anymore. And then this comes out like this, and that's just he's digging big time, man. If he's watching what Jimmy Corderas is saying, kudos to Jimmy Corderas, man, because a guy like The Rock or anybody else will never even answer stuff like this. So I don't know where MJF is coming from. I think he's a little lost in the company right now. I don't think he has any direction at all. I'm not sure if Tony Khan is running the boat with him or what, or if this is MJF just going into business for himself, but it's just ridiculous, dude. Work on your character, work on what you do in the ring, work on your whole persona because right now it's nowhere in my eyes.
Yeah. Guys, before I get to Tommy again, I want to remind you, you can be part of this conversation. We'll bring you right up on the screen. Do it through a super sticker or a donation. That's how you support us. You support this show, and we greatly appreciate it. A couple things. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy's the nicest guy in the world. And Jimmy, seriously, what Tommy said, I hope you're not taking this to heart because the fact that he's
Right.
acknowledging you puts you over huge.
Yep.
Seriously. So he really, really did you a favor. Number two, I don't know MJF. I know he is a fellow Long Islander. I've always been a fan of MJF. So I am going to, he got a little stiff at the end. I mean, dropping an F-bomb. I'm going to hope, Tommy, that MJF is in character and he's doing this in character. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he is. Now, Tommy, you want to know what happened with MJF's character? I'll tell you what happened with MJF's character. Guys like Triple H, guys like, Tony Khan, Tommy, they're not writers. They're not right. Tommy, everybody thinks they can write a television show. Everybody thinks there's nothing to writing a television show, formatting a television show, writing cliffhangers, writing dialogue. Anybody can do it. Anybody. That's like, Tommy, that's like you and me saying, yeah, bro, we could be champions of the world. Tommy, you and I, we can go on the road 300 times a year and have 20 and 30-minute matches. That's like me and you saying that. You and I know that's ridiculous. But yet the Triple H's and the Tony Khans with no writing background whatsoever think they can write a wrestling show. So what do we get, bro? Yeah, you can write a wrestling show for about a month. Then
Mm.
you run out of ideas. Then you don't know what to do. And all of a sudden, it turns into the same old, same old. Now, Tommy, I want to tell you this because MJF is wrong about one thing. MJF is wrong about Vince McMahon saying that you never acknowledge the other company. Maybe MJF was a little too young to remember, Tommy, but I know you and I were there. Did we not drive a tank up to the other company's door? Did we not skyride in the air? WCW sucks. Tommy, here's the rule of thumb that I always went by when I was writing. Here's the rule of thumb. Tommy, when you're number one, the competition doesn't exist.
That's right.
That's when Vince would never mention the competition. When you're number one and they're the pimple on your ass, you are not going to put them over. However, when you're number two, Tommy, now you're throwing the kitchen sink at them because you're going to hope they engage you. Because once they engage you, just like MJF did with Jimmy, once they engage you, now they're going to start mentioning you, and now they're going to start putting you over, and now you're in their head. So basically, there's a time to do it, Tommy. There's a time not to do it.
Uh, I totally agree with you on this, and it gets people talking, right? I mean, if you're number 2 and then, "Oh, I'm gonna talk about Cody, I'm gonna talk about" oh, now it may be a little interesting to somebody say, "Oh, what did MJF say about Cody? Is Cody gonna come back at MJF?" So that's what you open it up to. I mean, that's what MJF opens it up to when you bring Cody's name and you bring up, Dustin's father in a promo. Now it opens up to stuff that's not even happening around anywhere. And then you bring up the champ in your promo. So that makes everybody think, boy, is Cody going to come back at him? Cody didn't say 2 words, did he? Did he say anything on social media at all?
I
Nothing at
doubt
all,
it. Yeah, I
right?
doubt it.
But that's what kind of stuff you fish for when you are number 2. When
Yep.
you are number 2, that's what you fish for. So people start getting interesting. Oh, what's MJF going to say next week? Is he going to bring up The Rock? Is he going to bring up the chairman of the company back in the day? You never know. And that's how you start people thinking on social media, man, what else is MJF going to say? It's just to get himself over a little more because right now he's stuck in the AEW right now, somewhere in that middle flux with him, Moxley, and the rest of that crew. I have no idea where he is. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Tommy. Tom, Tommy, we've known each other a long time.
Yes,
Tommy.
sir.
Can I get a little personal with you?
Sure.
All right. Now, Tommy, I know your lovely wife.
Yes.
Been around her many, many, many times. Tommy, how long have you been married?
34 years.
34 years. Tommy, I've been married 41 years.
Wow.
Okay. Now, Tommy, a long time ago, I stopped sleeping in the same bed with my wife. Probably, God, I know exactly when, probably about, Tommy, 24 years ago. I'll tell you why. She snored like a cow, like a freaking cow. And I would stand there all night staring at the ceiling. I said, you know what? I'm sleeping in the guest room. So, Tommy, I've been sleeping in the guest room for 25 years. Okay. Now, Tommy, as you know, listen, we're older now. Tommy, how
Yep.
old are you now?
68.
I'm 64.
Yep.
So, now we're going through the phase, Tommy. Like, I like to call it, Tommy, the hey nanny nanny. The hey nanny nanny is few and far between because here's what, Tommy, tell me if you're experiencing this. And Tommy, I hope you're not.
Okay.
Are you getting the moo and the house coat every night? Tommy, she comes to bed in the moo and the house coat, like, like game over. Like, Tommy, are you experiencing this?
I would say absolutely yes. The
Yeah.
game didn't even start. It's not even the game is over.
Yeah, and that's how they get out of it. Like, we don't know. Like, we don't get the signal. Okay, she's wearing the moo. It's game over. So, Tommy, like, it's game over. Like, I understand. So, Tommy, this is a true story. Segue to Mando.
Okay.
So tell me, I'm in my quarters last night. She's in her quarters. Okay. All of a sudden, Tommy, she comes walking in last night. No moo, some negligee looking gimmick. All right, Tommy and I'm like, oh, what a surprise. Like, where's this coming from, Tommy? Tommy, I swear, here's the first thing I did, Tommy. I am not kidding you. I jumped off the bed, ran in the bathroom, grabbed my Mando wipes, gave a nice the grundle. First, I did the grundle with the Mando wipes, then the spray on the Mando gimmick. Then I actually, Tommy, took the whole body deodorant right at the top of the butt crack with the whole body deodorant, and then I was ready to go, Tommy. I was all sauced up with the I'm clean smelling down there, the whole 9 yards. The only problem is, Tommy, 5 minutes and it's over. I mean, come on. Tommy, that's all I got these days. 5 minutes and it's over. But Tommy, you can see, guys, you gotta be prepared. You can't be there. Bro, can you imagine if, Tommy, you're sleeping and all of a sudden she sneaks in the bed and you don't know she's there? And then, Tommy, it's the old reach around.
Yes.
And you got the sweaty, stinky, gross Schnabitz. Thank you, Tommy Schnabitz. And that is why you guys need, it says it right here, Tommy, pits, packages, and feet.
There you go.
Guys, Mando really, and Tommy, you know, this I love about Mando. Listen to this, Tommy. 12 hours, you didn't know this, Tommy, but 12 hours after you take a shower, the average man's grundle, the odor of the grundle is a 5 out of 10. 12 hours after a shower. Tommy, with Mando, 72 hours, 0 out of 10.
Love it.
72 hours. Tommy, in other words, you could put the Mando on, run around the block, and come back smelling like bourbon leather, Tommy. But Mando, guys, try this stuff out. It's tremendous. Every guy needs this because we're all slobs and pigs and we stink. Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. A solid stick deodorant, cream tube, 2 free products, free shipping. A special gift for you listeners if you use the code EXPLODES. You'll get a $5 off the starter pack. Just go over to shopmando, shopmando.com. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Explodes. Shopmando.com.
Nothing like a fresh Schnabitz.
Tommy, I have not heard that word. Maybe since
Gene
Pat
Okerlund.
Patterson. Gene
Pat Patterson, Gene Okerlund, all those guys.
What characters, huh, Tommy? What freaking characters we worked around. Unbelievable.
Yes, we did. Yep.
And I'm sure, Tommy, you probably got to work with somebody I did not get to work with because you were there much longer than I. You probably worked with the great Lord Alfred Hayes, too, right?
Me and Lord Alfred Hayes were best friends. Are you kidding?
Tremendous.
One of the smartest guys you ever want to meet, speak 3 different languages. And you know what? He knew who his character was. He said, and we used to talk in his office every day, Thomas, I know I'm the company buffoon to Vince, but you know what? I'm getting paid and I love it.
That's it.
And he was the greatest guy. I don't know why he's not in the Hall of Fame. It's a travesty that he's not, because those Tuesday Night Titans without Alfred there, Vince would be nobody in those.
Bro, how is he not in the Hall of Fame, Tommy?
Me and Chris Chambers. I don't know if you know Chris Chambers.
Of course. Me and Chris.
We were big proponent. We were big guys that wanted out Lord Alfred in the Hall HOF. And
I forgot all about that. I mean, because I'm always politicking for guys getting in the Hall of Fame where it's ridiculous. I did not even realize he was not in the Hall of Fame.
Nope, not even close.
Wow. All right, guys, again, you want to be part of the conversation, super stickers or donations, we'll pull you right up on the screen. We had an interview with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman on Busted Open Radio. Producer man, can we bring up
I
that
think we can do this forever. I really do. A lot of people were like, third inning. That was a game one. It's a 7-game series, baby. And I'm not trying to bring up these analogies to, like pinpoint timelines and stuff, but that's me saying confidently, I can run this thing for 2 more years, no problem.
Do you take the time to realize the fact of, there you were standing next to Bill Apter taking photographs at the Meadowlands in New Jersey, and here you are probably being the smartest man alive when it comes to professional wrestling?
I'm the smartest man alive because I got next to Roman Reigns. Now, whether that situation was manipulated or whether just all the stars aligned, I hitched my wagon to the tribal chief Roman Reigns. That's what makes me the smartest man alive. If there's any credit to take, the credit to take is that I saw this coming, and my God, I jumped on it with both hands and have been holding on till my fingers are numb.
Tommy, do you know, I try so hard to be objective. It's very hard for me to be objective when it comes to Paul Heyman. And that's why I got to tell people that up front. I'll tell you what, Tommy, because you did not, you don't know this story. I'm going to tell you this story. So, Tommy, there was a time when it was just me and Vince writing, because it was, Bruce went to talent relations. It was me, Vince, and Cornette. Vince eliminated Cornette, and it was just him and I for a very long time. So at that time, Tommy, Vince told me that we had a working relationship with ECW that nobody knew. And I said, Vince, what is the relationship? And he said, we just exchange talent. If somebody's not getting the television time they need to get, maybe we send them over there. Vince, if there's somebody you like on their show, we let Paul know, and they will come over to Raw. That was the arrangement. Okay. So, bro, we sent a lot of guys over to ECW, Tommy. And Tommy, you know this, you can vouch for me. Vince didn't watch one episode of ECW. He had no idea who was on the roster, what was going on. So, Tommy, I would occasionally watch ECW, and when there was somebody that stood out, I would go to Vince and say, Vince, call Paul. Let's get so-and-so over here. Okay? So, Tommy, every time Vince would call Paul for a talent, it started with the Dudleys. Paul would tell Vince, I don't know what to tell you. They're not interested in coming. And Vince would tell me this, and I would look at Vince and I'd say, are you effing kidding me, Vince? Those guys would rather headline a bingo hall than Madison Square Garden. Is that what you're telling me? But Tommy, I had no proof. I just knew there's no way somebody's going to turn down WWE for ECW. So Tommy, I want to know if you remember this name, because we're both New Yorkers. We're both from back east. Remember in the Daily News, there used to be that column. What was it? The Grappler. What was it?
Yes. So, I can't remember what it was.
The Grappler. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, that guy's name was Hank Winicky, but Hank Winicky was not getting the wrestling news. He was getting it from a guy, and I you got to know this name, Tommy. Blackjack Brown?
Yes, I know who that is.
A legend, living legend. God rest his soul. So Blackjack Brown was feeding Hank Winicky, and Hank would put all the news in the Daily News, okay? So all of a sudden, one night, I get a call from Blackjack Brown. Vince, the Dudleys want to talk to you.
Wow.
So they did the end around to let me know, bro, we definitely want to come into the WWE. So then I got them in a meeting with Vince, and that's how the Dudleys got hired. But, bro, I always hold that against Paul because, Tommy, like, I can understand why he did it, because, his promotion would have hurt if they lost the Dudleys. But my God, bro, in that same breath, you're going to keep these guys from making 5, 6, 7 times the amount of money that they were making with you. And you're going to cock block them like that without them even knowing it. Tommy, I just had a huge, huge problem with that. And every time I see Heyman, that's all I think about.
Yeah, it was he's a little I don't know how I got to know Paul pretty well, but there were some shady aspects of what he did. He like you're saying, he's lying, he's bullshitting, he's holding back talent. And why would you hold back talent? You got to let them grow, right? Where did you come from? Well, I started my roots in ECW. There you go. You're putting over ECW big time. And for the Dudley boys to swerve all the way around, go to Blackjack Brown, a beat writer, to come to you, that's telling me that Paul's been pretty shady with the Dudley boys, and he was pretty tight with them. So I question some of the things that he did back in the day. I think he's much different now. Now that he's older and he's making tons of money with the company, so I'm sure he's more of a straight shooter. I'm sure it's him heading up this so-called bloodline. I want to talk about that when you're ready to talk about it. So yes, there were shady things about him. I mean, look, he bankrupted ECW. If it wasn't for Vince, he owed everybody money. He didn't pay the boys for weeks, right? And he bankrupted, and Vince pulled him out,
Yeah.
pulled him out of it.
I'm just like you can't stop these guys from making money like
Right.
that. I just thought that was so wrong on so many levels. But anyway, Tommy, let's get to the bloodline. The floor is yours because I got my thoughts on it.
All right, here's my question. We're in the third inning. Can anybody tell me right now, in this moment, where is the bloodline? Where is the bloodline, right? Solo hasn't been around. Roman's out now. Tonga and Jacob are not representing the bloodline. They're not even called the bloodline anymore. They don't wear any of their merchandise anymore. Jimmy Uso's not in the bloodline. Jay's main event in WrestleMania. So where is this storyline? What happened? What are they doing with Solo? Why is Roman out? Do they have Roman out because they have nothing for him yet, and they're going to come up with some big triple threat or fatal 4-way at WrestleMania with him, Rollins, and the rest of the crew there? So I want to know what's going on with the storyline of the bloodline. Where is it? Because right now, to me, it's dead. The bloodline is dead. I don't know where it is. Can somebody tell me?
Yeah, Tommy, it's man, it's just so funny because like you and I haven't been around it. Like we just immediately read between the lines like that. That's just where our minds go. And I'm listening to Roman, and bro, I'm a huge fan of Roman. I've always been a fan of Roman. He because he looks like a wrestler. This is a bona fide star. I'm a huge fan of Roman, but I'm watching this and I'm like, yeah, bro, you can keep the bloodline going for another 2-3 years so you can employ your entire family, bro. You can employ your kids and the kids after them. I mean, because Tommy, that's where I hear it's going. I hear that they have signed a lot of the Samoans where they're just going to keep bringing more Samoans in to keep this bloodline going. And if I'm Roman, man, if I can keep giving my family jobs, I'm going to keep this thing going as long as I possibly can.
Wow. So there's going to be 2.0, 3.0, but it's, you know
Yes.
what, Vince? It has to be interesting. It has to be something where the fans grasp on right now. And excuse me, I'm sorry, that there's nothing grasping onto the bloodline right now. Everybody's going their different ways. Look at Jacob. Look at Tama Tonga. Jimmy's not with them. Roman's out. So how are they all of a sudden just going to pick up the bloodline and here comes a new guy coming in? Oh, this is bloodline 3.0 and it's this guy now. That's my problem with it.
Yeah.
Last year we had consistency for over 4 years with Roman being the champ, running the bloodline, running the company, doing what he wanted to do. And now, a year later, where is it?
Yeah. I'm assuming, Tommy, just watching what they're doing, I'm assuming they're going to Solo and Fatu. Solo coming back, Fatu now is. Tommy, here's the thing about the WWE guys. If you really watch them closely, Man, Tommy, I used to get accused of being, like really more of an entertainment guy. But Tommy, I got to tell you something. When Ed Ferrara and I would sit across from each other and we would pitch a storyline, Tommy, as we're talking about that, if Ed and I caught each other, we would say, "Wait a minute. They did this then. They did that here." If they had done that storyline before, we'd come up with something else because we constantly wanted something new. There is such a pattern in the WWE where they just repeat stories, Tommy, over and over and over again using different people. So now they're going to take the Roman Reigns Solo Sequoia story, and now that's going to become the Solo Fatu story. They repeat these same stories with different people over and over again.
That's the reason why they're probably keeping Solo away. Because when I saw him come out and then he dropped the mic and didn't say anything, I said to myself, in a couple of weeks, this guy's going to come back. He's going to be a babyface. He's going to be a babyface. He didn't like what's going on with Jacob. Jacob kind of took over when he was gone. He said, "I'm the new guy." He was cutting his promo backstage and saying, "You haven't seen nothing yet, Jacob." And I'm like, well, this is self-explanatory. Solo's going to come back in a couple of weeks, and he's going to be a big-time babyface. Maybe even hook up with Roman. Who knows? So that's what I think is going to happen. You're absolutely right. It's regurgitated. Nothing new. It's all regurgitated.
And Tommy, here's another thing that drives me nuts, and you hit the nail on the head. And we see this so many times. Tommy, I always said when it gets to getting somebody over, okay? Tommy, here's the number one rule of thumb. They need to be represented on TV every single week. And there are many ways to represent a talent, whether they have a match, whether they're on color, whether they're in a vignette, whether it's, what there are so many ways to get a talent, but they need to be on every week, because the second they miss a week or 2 weeks, Tommy, now you're starting all over again. So you're constantly restarting all over again. Tommy, you hit the nail on the head. When you don't see certain performers on WWE programming right now, like you said, it's Solo. Tommy, it's because they don't know what to do with them. That's why they're not on TV. They don't know what to do with them, so they sit them at home. And Tommy, come on, out of sight, out of mind. So now we're going to sit Solo home for 4 weeks. Now we're going to bring him back. Now we got to start all over again. And again, everything goes back to they're not writers. I can't imagine me telling Vince, I got nothing for Austin this week, man. Let's keep him at home. I got nothing for him this week. Tommy, that's just, you're not going to get people over that way.
You know what? I'm glad you brought up Austin, because I was going to bring that up. That was when I was on the road. I was on the road from 96 to 02. Was there a week in the shows that we didn't see Austin? Never. We saw Austin. You had him in that show every week, and he became the biggest star ever. He had the most merchandise sold ever. You kept him in that show, and you kept it interesting every week on what he was going to do. Was he going to run over Vince's limo? Is he going to be backstage looking for Vince, or doing this or doing that? But you know what? He was in the show every week, and he didn't have to wrestle to be in the show. He could come out, cut a promo. He could be backstage. He could be in Vince's office. He could be in his truck pulling up, doing something crazy. But you had him in the show every week so the fans could see who Steve Austin was.
Another thing that drives me absolutely nuts. If somebody on the roster back during the Attitude Era, if they were hurt, JR would call us, this is so-and-so's injury, they're going to be out for X amount of weeks, okay? You know what that meant to me, Tommy? This is what that meant to me. You can't book them in a match.
Right.
They were on every show. That's totally fine. As long as I have Austin, as long as I have The Rock. If they can't work, they can't work. That's fine. But Tommy, they started doing this somewhere along the way. When somebody gets hurt, no matter how up on the roster they are, they're off the show.
Mhm.
Like they had Rhea Ripley, the hottest star on the show. She got hurt and they sent her home for 4 weeks. I'm like, bro, if they're hurt, that just means they can't work. It doesn't mean they can't be on the show. That drives me nuts, Tommy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You can be involved in the show in some way, shape, or form. If you can't physically work in the ring, you got to keep that character relevant every week. You can't let them sit on the sidelines for 4 weeks and say, "Where's Rhea Ripley at?" Oh my God, we forgot all about her. You got to keep her every week. That's what television is: storytelling every week. And when you come to 1 week and you missed the last week, we reminded you what happened last week on that show to let you know this is what we're doing this week. It's very easy, and you did a great job of it, telling stories every week. And that's what this business is about. And that's where we got away from. We don't tell stories anymore.
Because, Tommy, I'll tell you why. You got writers and you got bookers.
Yep.
Here's the difference. Writers start with the story. What two characters can we put together in an intriguing story? And then that leads to the match. With bookers, it's what's the best match? What two guys are going to have the best match? And then we'll try to make up some kind of a story. That's the difference because Tommy, bookers look at this as a wrestling show. Writers look at this, like you said, as a television show. Tommy, during the run of Seinfeld, is Kramer not going to be on the show 3 weeks in a row? During Friends, are Rachel and Ross not going to be on the show? If you are a character on the show, you need to be on the show every week. And that's why I think they have a problem with getting people over, because it's stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. You're never going to get anybody over that way, Tommy.
It doesn't doesn't work like that. The old way is the way to do it, and you're absolutely correct. I mean, we got nothing out of Raw coming out of Rumble. Did we get anything advancing at all? Did we see Drew at all? We heard at the end of Rumble that Cody was hurt. The flag bearer of that company, carrying that championship belt around, looking like $1 million. His name didn't even get brought up.
Yep.
I don't care if he's the SmackDown champ or this. He's the champ, dude. He's the champ. He represents your company. When you're sending him to Jimmy Fallon, you're not sending Gunther. You're sending sharp Cody Rhodes.
Right.
And nobody talked about Cody Rhodes or brought up what went out all through social media. You know, they're good with social media talking about this and that. They talked about Drew storming out. What happened? Did we hear anything about Drew? That would be one of the first things I'd be interested in.
Yep.
Oh, Jackie Redmond said Cody is hurt. We don't know what's going on. Not one person brought it up.
Yeah.
How do you forget that?
And Tommy, on top of that, Roman wasn't on the show.
Nope. And they made an announcement he's going to be gone for a while now.
And on top of that, Tommy, we just started with Netflix 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
4 weeks ago.
It's just gone downhill ever since.
It blows my mind. All right, Tommy, before we go.
Yes, sir.
Before we go, I hope you and I are on the same note, same page. Because, Tommy, I slapped down a C note, and I never do that, Tommy. I never, ever do that. I took the Chiefs. I gave 1.5 and I took the over 48.5. I parlayed that, Tommy. Give me your Super Bowl thoughts, please.
All right, here's my Super Bowl thoughts. I hate the Philadelphia Eagles, even though I do hate them. I'm a fan of Saquon Barkley. Here's where it comes down to difference, Vince. Coaching. You give me Andy Reid 2 weeks to prepare for a game. You give me Steve Spagnuolo 2 weeks to prepare for a game. I'll take him over Sirianni and Vince Fangio any day of the week. Now, I know the Eagles have the number one defense, but I got to tell you, nobody's more of a magician than Andy Reid and Mahomes, and they are gonna win the game. It's gonna be a three-peat, and I agree with you. The over's gonna be 48. They're gonna score in the second half, and I think even though coach's head is gonna get we won't even fit him in here anymore. You give it's all about coaching to me. It's
Yeah,
all about coaching, and Reed just blows Soriano away, and those guys play for them. They know they're this close to history, man,
yeah.
and the Eagles will not stop them.
Tommy, you know what? I'm saying the same thing now that I used to hear myself saying a few years ago. When we got to the Super Bowl, Tommy, I would always say, you can't bet against Brady. I'm saying the same thing about Patrick Mahomes now. How can you possibly bet against Patrick Mahomes?
The dude is a magician, and I've been watching football. I'm a huge football fan like you and baseball and everything else. He's just a magician out there, and, quite frankly, I don't think Jalen Hurts is that great. I think in big games, he kinda apples up a little. If it wasn't for Barkley this year,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know where that team would be.
yeah.
So, I'm gonna put my money down. I'm not putting it on Jalen Hurts. I'm putting it on Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid right then and there.
Very nice. Tommy, what do you think about the Alonso signing?
Boy, did he overplay his hand or what?
Oh, well, did he overplay his hand or freaking Boris, man?
Yeah,
Boris, he's
Boris,
bro, the last
you know
2 years, he has screwed his clients over.
well, he got the bag for, Juan Soto. I think they gave him past, part of the City Field as a wing there. I mean, he asked for everything. So, I'm a Yankee fan. I'm
I
upset
know.
Soto's gone, but you give him 765. How do you walk away from that? Alonso really made a bad move of getting rid of his agent, going with Boris. He saw big numbers. They weren't there. He got, 2 years, 54 million. He's got an opt out in the first year. And believe me, Cohen wants him to opt out because they're going to go after Vladdy Daddy Guerrero and another big bag of money for that first baseman to play with Soto. That he wants him to opt out in a big way in a year, and they gave him that option. And he's the highest paid first baseman ever, $30 million for like a 220 hitter who strikes out a ton, guys. And going to be a little different for Soto not having Judge behind him than having Pete Alonso. So
Yeah,
we'll see what kind of numbers Soto puts up this year, and it all reflects back to Pete Alonso because I'd rather pitch to Pete Alonso than Juan Soto, right? So
yeah,
we'll
I
see what
agree.
happens. But he overplayed his hand with
Yeah,
Boris. He saw big numbers, and he's not getting them, dude.
yeah.
And he better have a monster year if he wants to opt out because he's not getting any younger.
Yeah. Hey, Tommy, I got to tell you, man, I like what the Yankees did in the offseason. I mean, yeah, they lost Soto, but I think overall, all around, they're a better team right now than they were at the end of last season.
Yeah, I do too. I think Goldschmidt at first. I think Bellinger in center field. I don't know what they're going to do at third base. I really don't want DJ LeMahieu at third base. I would try to. I heard the Philadelphia Phillies wanted to trade Bowen, who I wouldn't mind having. So we'll see what happens. They need a leadoff hitter. We'll see what happens with Dominguez. The kid's a stud. He
Yep.
just changed his number from like 88 to 24. So maybe that's going to make him play a little better. He's going to be in left field. I like the pitching. I like Wells behind the plate. I think they got a solid team, and Judge is going to be Judge. I think so. And if Stan could pick it up a notch, boy, the sky's the limit because the American League's really not that tough, not
Yeah.
that tough at all.
Tommy, I just, following this the whole off season, God, I just think Arenado is a no brainer. The Cardinals are looking to give him away. Do the Yankees not like him for some
No,
reason?
a lot of people think Arenado is another Josh Donaldson. That's what we were reading.
Wow.
There's,
Well, yeah, but
we,
you'd rather have him instead of LeMayu, no?
oh my God, in a minute,
Yeah.
I'd take him in a minute.
Yeah.
That's the dilemma. Are they going to move Jazz as second? You mean to tell me DJ LeMahieu is gonna play third all year and be healthy? We've seen he hasn't been healthy in 3 years, and
Yeah.
we know what he is. He's not getting any younger. So and they're not gonna put Cabrera there. He's the utility guy.
Yep.
Peraza, they thought this guy was gonna be the next, Derek Jeter, right? Never panned out. They're not gonna put him at third. You gotta hit when you're at third base. You gotta have power at first, and you gotta have power at third. I
Right.
wish we had your guy, Willie Adames. That kid's a Stud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God we did that. But anyway. All right, Tommy, where can everybody follow you, man? I know you're doing a ton of great shows with the coach. Give it to me, Tommy.
Yeah, we got the last word every Monday night with myself, Gabby, and sometimes Rafi on. We right after Raw, we're on at 11 o'clock. We come straight up at 11. No matter if Raw's over at 10:30 or 11:05, we're up at 11. I'm at BTT underscore Tommy C for X and Instagram. You got a question for me? Hit me up. Me and the coach working together. I love it. And Gabby's along right now, who was supposed to be here today, but you got my pretty face instead.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on, man. I love it. You're a great guy. We've been friends for years, and I love just rapping about stuff.
Oh yeah, Tommy, I love having you on, man. You're an old friend, and just your knowledge of wrestling, forget it, and sports. It was a pleasure and an honor to have on the great Tommy Carlucci. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Guys, my plug is real quick, man. If you like the show and you want to support me, I'm offering you a free week of Russo's brand. All you got to do is go to patreon.com/Russo TWC. Get your free week, no long-term commitment. For me, Tommy, and producer man, Coach, we'll see you next week.